Hi, friends. Some words of Torah for Parshat Tetzaveh. The spice of life makes life worth living. The Torah ends our parsha with the commandment to make the golden Mizbach HaKetoret, the incense altar. Many commentaries ask why this utensil's instruction is deferred until the very end of Parshat Tetzaveh, long after all the other intensified in Parshat Truma last week. It seems that the incense altar was not the same as the other utensils, which were integral to temple service. Rabbi Ovadia Saforno suggests that all of the other temple services and their respective utensils, the lighting of the menorah, the offering of the sacrifices, the baking of the showbread, and so forth, were all necessary in order to create a repository for the Shekhinah, allowing Hashem to rest his divine presence within our people. But the Ketoret offering was not meant to bring the Shekhinah. Rather, once the Shekhinah was brought down by the other requisite temple services, it was only fitting to offer incense as a show of respect to Hashem, whose presence was manifest in this holy place. In the same vein, Rabbi Meir Simcha of Dvinsk demonstrates from the Talmud that the incense's offering was not as reliant upon the specific altar utensil. For all other services, if the utensil was missing or deficient, the service could not be performed. For example, if the sacrificial altar in the courtyard of the temple was broken or missing a piece, all sacrifices had to be suspended and could not be brought until the altar was repaired. But in the absence of the golden incense altar, incense could still be brought. This too indicates that there was something different about the Ketoret service. But this only begs the question, why is it that the menorah lighting, for example, is so vital an ingredient to bringing Hashem's presence among us, whereas the Ketoret offering was not? Why is it treated with less formality and strict protocol than the other services? Furthermore, the Torah says that the incense of the Mishkan must be offered twice daily, once in the morning and once in the evening. But the Torah makes that statement in an unusual context, pointing out that the incense must be offered in concert with the work done with the menorah. In the morning, the Kohen must offer the incense in the middle of his work in cleaning out the burnt out wicks of the menorah. In the evening, the Kohen must offer the incense immediately before the lighting of the menorah. Why does the Torah connect the burning of the incense with the lighting of the menorah? Although the entire temple service is quite foreign to us, we can find deep meaning about the human condition in these arcane practices. The lighting of the menorah represents and stimulates the sense of sight, whereas the burning of the ketoret represents and stimulates the sense of smell. In this context, Maimonides suggests that the reason for burning incense in the temple is to remove any offensive odor that one might encounter when entering the Mishkan with all of its freshly slaughtered animals on a hot day. The incense would alleviate the overpowering smell and would provide instead a positive olfactory experience. Which sense is more impactful and necessary for human survival? The sense of smell or the sense of sight? Just consider what so many of us have been through during COVID. One of the side effects of the virus was the temporary loss of smell and taste. Can you imagine if, instead of taking away one's sense of smell, the virus took away one's sight? There would be absolute pandemonium and utter terror at the prospect of going blind even temporarily. But lose your smell and taste for a few days? Not so terrible. But we shouldn't be quick to dispense with the importance of the Ketores and the sense of smell. Note the role it plays in multiple stories in the Torah. It is the offering that Nadav and Avihu brought into the Holy of Holies, thinking that this would be most pleasing to Hashem. It is also the offering that Korach's 250 elders brought in their censer pans, thinking that Hashem would choose them over Moshe, only to discover that their offering brought about their destruction. The Ketoret was also used by Aharon to stay a plague in that same parsha, Parshat Korach. What is the quality of the Ketoret that makes it attractive as an offering, and why does it have this ability to stay a plague? Consider that it may very well be that the less vital role of the Ketoret and its accompanying sense of smell is the very thing that makes it so special and desirable. All of the karbanot that are offered to Hashem on the main altar, animal flesh, flower offerings, libations, All of these have nutritive qualities that represent the concept of feeding the Almighty his due, in the hopes that he will reciprocate and feed us that which is vital for our existence, our parnasa, our health, and so forth, in the same way that the sense of sight is vital to our existence. But the truly righteous person is inspired to serve God not because he or she wishes to garner some benefit from the Almighty. Rather, he or she wishes to show honor and homage to their Creator without the expectation of anything in return. The greatest gratification is not doing something which garners things in return, but rather knowing that you have made a difference in the larger scheme and that your Creator loves you because of it. The Ketoret represents specifically that ingredient in life that is not vital to our survival, but nevertheless makes life worth living. This is what sweet-smelling fragrances achieve as well. We can certainly survive without fragrance, but what a bland and tasteless life it would be without our olfactory senses intact. That's why Nadav and Avihu felt that the Ketoret was the appropriate offering for an extemporaneous show of their love to Hashem. It wasn't in order to curry favor for any of their needs, but rather to show their love and desire to achieve ultimate closeness as the inherent gratification for their offering. And that's also the key to the Ketoret's ability to stay a plague. The fragrance of incense represents the higher sense of quality of life. One who takes time to smell the roses is not just surviving, but is living in that moment. It is that high sense of living that wards off the angel of death and allows a person to survive a plague. It's also the reason why immediately after Shabbat, when our neshama yetera, our added soul, leaves us, we revive ourselves with incense, demonstrating that despite Shabbos's departure, we will still find life purpose in the days ahead. I just returned from Israel, where I was based in Yerushalayim. One of the most distinctive smells is the Machane Yehuda Shuk, where you immediately are hit with the familiar fragrance of spices, grills, fruits, and vegetables, and the life of a marketplace. That smell is invigorating and reminds me whenever I visit that I'm home. I wonder, maybe the temple will smell like Machane Yehuda when it's rebuilt. I look back at these past 2 years and I see a period of time that for many was beli ta'am vareach, without any taste or fragrance. Many survived but deferred actual living. One of our greatest challenges in emerging from COVID is rebuilding and reconstituting our sense of community, which may not be essential for our survival, but is the ketoret of the human experience, especially for the Orthodox Jew. The great frustration that was initiated by so many truckers who are continuing their freedom convoy in Canada is not only a protest against their loss of income. This movement for so many in the larger society, even among those who have been fully vaccinated, represents a push to restore life to the normalcy that contains that sense of smell and taste that makes life worth living again. Finally, in describing the Mashiach, Isaiah says that he will be imbued with the unique ability to see people for whom they really are. The Navi thus says that instead of judging people with his eyes and ears as one would normally, the Messiah will, as it says in Isaiah chapter 11, V'haricho bi'yirat Hashem. He will smell out the fear of God within people. The Ibn Ezra explains that the sense of smell is uncanny in its truthful detection. Sometimes, he says, the sense of hearing errs in that it might hear something that's not really there. The sense of sight might also mistake something stationary as moving. Only the sense of smell never misperceives. As we continue to rebuild society, we will continue to regain our sense of smell. I encourage you to smell the roses and resume living your life to the fullest. I look forward to imbibing the sweet fragrance of the Ketoret together with you in the days to come. Let's see the temple service, dear friends, once again together in Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, Bimheira B'Yameinu, Amen. And here's wishing you a beautiful Shabbat together with your family and friends. Shabbat Shalom, friends, and all the best.